75 miles an hour on cruise control. My God, where has an HDT truck been all my life?
September 10th, 2020, the day that would change my future forever. My name is AJ, this is Denise and Allie. Welcome to the adventure we call life.
So how much difference is it really driving the HDT truck versus the Class A motorhome? Actually, it's quite a bit of difference. Let's flip the camera around and we'll talk about it. Well, I can tell you one of the major differences right off the get-go, and it's not that we couldn't have done this to the Class A, I just really had no idea what it was really like. And that is the air ride seats. My goodness, these things oh yeah, and then just, it's almost like an amusement park ride. Anyways, the air ride seats have been a major difference just right off the get-go of the comfort level of driving this. This is a 2013 Volvo VNL 730. It has been stretched, and of course the bed put on it for the Jeep. I've got the Jeep loaded on here right now. I'm running 75 miles an hour on cruise control. And with stop and go traffic and just the overall, I'm about halfway between Little Rock and Fort Smith. Anyway, I left Houston this morning, and overall I've been averaging 9.9 miles to the gallon. And like I say, I've got the Jeep loaded on the back. We're coming in at just a little over, hold on, I've got the weight slip right here. Let me see what it was. We are at 30,700 pounds loaded right now. Not heavy loaded by no means at all, right? But anyways, I mean, still, we're 30,000 pounds, 75 miles an hour, you know, bumping nearly 10 miles to the gallon. So one of the major differences of driving the HDT, now granted, I don't have a fifth wheel behind this yet, but even if I lose 2 to 3 miles per the gallon, loaded with the fifth wheel and the Jeep, right, we're still talking about 7 miles to the gallon. On a good day, like a good day, our Class A averaged about 6.3 miles to the gallon. That was hand calculated, and of course then we had, fuel we were burning on the generator and fuel that we were burning for the hydronic heating system, right? Which this truck does have a hydronic heating system also. The sleeper compartment back here, it does have a Wabatsto diesel fire heater in there. So that's kind of the same. No, it's not quite as big inside, obviously, as a 40-foot diesel pusher with 4 slide outs and everything like that, but we'll have a fifth wheel that's going to have all those feature comforts at all. And so the difference being is when we are on the road, we can stay in the truck here. It's very, very comfortable. We have double bunk beds. There are 2 double beds. There's a refrigerator. There's a microwave. I have a TV up here. Like I say, it has its own, there's an air conditioning system for it, heating system for it. The beds are very, very comfortable. The lower bed makes into a dinette. It seats 4. And so anyway, it's a very comfortable truck to drive. The Volvo is still on airbags. So, I mean, the suspension is still riding on airbags, just like our motorhome was. And of course, the cab itself is also on airbags as well. So unless you hit one of our illustrious highways that are in such fantastic shape where you get like a big bump or something like that, the ride comfort of the HDT, honestly, and as good as the country coach rides, I mean, they are known for their suspension and how well they ride, but it's almost daylight and dark. Our motorhome drives really, really well, but I've never been like totally comfortable to just grab the steering wheel like this and let it rock, at 75 miles an hour. I've never driven our motorhome at 75 miles an hour. I just feel like it's going to blow up or something. I mean, it just seems like it's wound out. And of course, this truck, at nearly 80 miles an hour, we're still only turning 1,500 RPM. Of course, that's the difference between a 6-speed and a 12-speed. This truck has a 12-speed, and the motorhome only had a 6-speed in it. So, again, it really is like a daylight and dark difference of driving this truck versus our Class A. It's so comfortable. I mean, I'm doing a 500-mile stint here. I haven't stopped, and I'm still very comfortable. My back's not hurting, my legs don't hurt, or anything like that. I mean, these were this is no longer a commercial truck, but I mean, this was a commercial truck in its life. I mean, these drivers spend hours and hours behind the wheel, thousands of miles a day, and I mean, they have to be comfortable doing that, right? Driver fatigue is a terrible thing. And if your seats are just not comfortable, man, you'll just get really tired. So I have driven our motorhome. I did a stint in the motorhome that was about, we did almost 700 miles in a single day. And when I climbed out of the driver's seat that night, I was absolutely exhausted. And I'm fixing to do 500 miles here, and I feel just as good as when I left. So it is a little bit of a difference to get used to. The maneuverability is not as good as the country coach was. I will tell you that. I don't think there's a Class A motorhome out there that turns more sharply than a country coach does. They have got it going on with that. And of course, again, this truck is stretched, right? So it's a 255-inch wheelbase from the front steer axle to the first forwardmost drive axle. 255-inch wheelbase. This is a long truck, guys. So, anyways, that's just a little bit of the differences. We're going to talk more. We're going to keep on heading on down the road here. I'm making my way up towards Dover, Arkansas, and we'll be back in a little bit. Now, one other area where the HDT truck just outshines the Class A by no means, man, is the climbing ability when you're pulling grades. In our Class A, we had the 400 horse, 8.9 liter Cummins, 1,200 foot-pounds of torque, of course, with the 6-speed Allison. When we would try to pull a grade in the motorhome, for miles sometimes, right? I mean, it was just, it's a gutless wonder. Those motorhomes, our motorhome come in at a little over 42,000 pounds, and it's just not horsepowered enough. I mean, that is where, you know, horsepower does shine and torque as well, right? The 515s that come in that same model is again, hands down, far better than the 400. Now, this truck has the D13 motor in it, which is a 12.9 liter. It is made by Volvo. It's D13, but it has 1,850 foot-pounds of torque. And pulling a grade in this is, again, daylight indifference. Again, on the cruise control, it's 70 when we start pulling a grade. And again, I mean, yes, we're only loaded to 30,000 pounds. I get it. But it never checks up. Man, I mean, you feel the turbo, it spools in, you can hear it, and it just pulls like nobody's business up a grade. Whereas, well, I'll tell you, for an example is because we drove the motorhome, we drove the Class A from Salt Lake to Las Vegas, and there's a pretty decent climb through there, and we got down to about 40 miles an hour in the country coach in the Class A. Denise and I did the same exact trip in this truck. Again, I had the cruise set on 75, and when we got to the top of the pass, we were doing 70. So again, it's just amazing. I mean, there is no substitute for horsepower and torque and a lot of gears. Now, when we pulled that grade in this truck, it never downshifted. I mean, we pulled it in 12th gear, and in the motorhome, I mean, I did end up in 4th gear to pull that grade. But anyway, again, that's just another difference. Again, I mean, this truck is designed to pull a lot of weight, and so when we're lightly loaded, I mean, it ain't no race truck by no means, but you'd be very, very surprised how well it really handles here in these curves and stuff. So, anyway, that's just one more difference, learning the HDT over the Class A. People told me I couldn't take my HDT truck down to the cool camping spots in the Ozarks. Whatever.